and the iris of another eye there. And then a very simple axis, horizontal, on which I'll construct the eyebrows later on. A mark for the base of the nose. To the painter, it's not only the base of the nose, but the beginning of that important shadow, small shadow. A horizontal axis on which the mouth will be constructed later on. And that mark is basically the shadow of the upper lip, and then just a small mark for the shadow beneath the lower lip. We could go back up here and be a bit more specific about the eyebrow there and the eyebrow there. But let's also locate the landmark of the cheekbone curving gently here, forming the contour of the face, and the cheekbone curving here, giving us the edge of the light and shade on this side. The vertical of the neck, we're going to adjust it to the right just slightly. The forward edge of the mass of the hair here, and a little more specifics about the hairline where the forehead meets the hair. In this step, I want to give myself an indication of where the light and shade separates. And beginning up here on the forehead, the separation between the light struck front of the face and the shaded side of the face is visible very subtly, coming vertically down the forehead. The separation curves around the fullness of the eye socket and out onto the cheekbone, and the presence of the bony structure of the cheekbone gives us the separation between the lighted plane and the shaded plane on the side. Then coming down the side of the face, the division between the light and the shade takes on the shape of several curves, which curves down and around the chin, more or less like that. And I can take the dry brush paint on the brush, just a touch of color, rubbing it in a dry brush way to give myself just a bit of the indication of that shadow. Much more definite is the cast shadow on the throat, and it comes diagonally down on the neck like that. And we all know that the cast shadows are darker than the form shadows, and we indicate it that way in our drawing. And there's our division between the light and shade on the face, except for on the nose. Let's define the shape of the shadow on the nose. It's a complex small shadow made up of form shadow up here above the nostril and cast shadow below the nostril. There's just a touch of shadow in the inside corner of the eye socket, and there's a notable small area of shadow beside the fullness of the eye. We're trying to indicate the separation between the light and shade. So on the upper lip, a tiny shadow beneath the lower lip, and that is pretty much it on the face. How about the hair? We can, if we look very closely, we can discern a point approximately there on the hair where the light struck top and the shaded sides separate, and then falling down the front of the face in a very complex series of curls and shapes. All of this area essentially is in shadow. There's a great deal of shadow on the hair in this area with a light-struck area between. Over here on this side, we discern a vertical area of shadow on the form of the hair, and it's very fortunate because it gives us a dark to bring the front of the face out.